Hello, this is Stephen out. Yes, we're back with yet another Batman 66 episode review. Today, the dynamic trio will be going up against Lord Marmaduke Ffogg and his sister Lady Penelope Peasoup in the first episode of this three-parter. So without any further ado, let's head straight to the review. We begin this episode over in Londinium, somewhere in Europe, outside of America, where Lord Marmaduke Ffogg and his sister are pulling off some daring robberies. Essentially steal rare items. At the end of their thievery, when they leave the location, they leave behind man-made fog, which essentially erases pretty much all evidence. We then go to Commissioner Gordon's office in America, where he's getting a phone call from the President himself, who's been asked by the First Minister, and the Minister's been asked by Venerable Island Yard, clearly a reference and a play on Venerable, Scotland Yard, the famous, police organization in Europe, has asked to personally have Batman come over to help solve the case. It has also been noted that Barbara comes along because Gordon planned to go there for a police commissioners conference. Barbara didn't want to go to Londinium, but as soon as she finds out Batman's coming to help on some case, she immediately jumps the opportunity to go. We then go to the Bat phone, the usual to call up Bruce Wayne, or Batman, who is really Bruce Wayne. And here we get to see the scene with Dick being a drummer and having long hair, which was sent to be for a Boy Scout thing. And as soon as Bruce is walking to the phone, stops Dick and says, "Call it, Ringo," clearly a reference to the Beatles drummer of the same name. He then gets the call and realizes he's heading to Venerable Island Yard. We do the opening credits and we resume back to the episode, where Bruce, Dick, along with Gordon and Barbara, are on the yacht to head to Londinium. Of course, Bruce is secretly bringing all his bat equipment on board to go to Londinium. And I just like this whole, and even though I don't mind the scene, one thing I want to point out is how obvious the budget is, as this set is completely boring. Hell, it's not even a yacht, or even a boat, it's that bad. Anyway, we then cut to Lord Marmaduke Ffogg and his sister at their place, where it's revealed that he is not scared of Batman and Robin coming, once he gets word in the newspapers that they're coming to stop, to investigate their crimes. He's not scared because he says he has this pipe of fog, which is a fog that is released from his smoke pipe, which is apparently a tool that Batman has never gone up against. He plans to use it to plan the mastermind more robberies and to end by stealing the crown jewels, which will be their final caper for their their criminal career. We then go to Superintendent Watson's office, who is essentially the head of Venerable Island Yard, where Batman, Robin, Commissioner Gordon, and Barbara get all acquainted. Now, it should be noted before this scene took place, Batman, Robin, and Alfred, who's also coming, have set up in an old cottage or an old mansion, and they have a downstairs dungeon, which is to be used as their sort of Batcave thing. Anyway, back to the case. After giving all the clues that no evidence has been left behind, the fog, Batman goes through some names trying to find something that's similar. He then gets the word aftergrass, a type of lawn called fog, and one of the most precious in Londinium is Lord Marmaduke Ffogg. Now, Chief Inspector criticizes for a moment how he could suspect that he could be involved, as he's one of the most respected aristocrats. You see, at the time, if you had a title, you were above the upper crust, and you couldn't do any crimes. It's a stereotype, but it's no longer in play. But Batman says no, he doesn't suspect him, he just wants to have a look at the lawn. As a result, Superintendent Watson calls up Lord Ffogg and tells him that they'll be coming over to inspect the place. Lord Ffogg is curious, and we also find out more of his gang. Other than the staff clearly being his henchmen, they also run a finishing school for gentlewomen, which in reality is actually a school for women used to teach them in crime, and the group is led by Lord Marmaduke Ffogg's daughter, Prudence. And when they hear Batman and Robin coming over, they are all excited. We then see the scene of Batman, Robin, Barbara, and Superintendent Watson all going to Lord Marmaduke Ffogg's manor to have a look around the yard. We also see Prudence also spilling a bit of secrets to Robin, and clearly trying to con Robin, or is she? Batman looks all over the place, and is fine. Barbara, suspicious of what's going on, manages to go away to make a phone call to Alfred when she finds out he's in town, and essentially calls up to meet him. But we should also know during this scene, Lord Marmaduke Ffogg is wearing a cast on his leg, to throw suspicions that he can't be involved in these crimes because his leg's in a cast. After that, pretty much everyone leaves. Barbara heads back into the city, Batman and Robin drive back to their Batcave, and Watson no doubt goes back to Vanderbilt Island Yard. Whilst that's all happening, Barbara meets up with Alfred and quickly gets changed into her Bat costume, which she's naturally brought to Londinium. Just as that's all happening, the Batmobile is pulled over on the highway, and a bunch of highwaymen pop out and appear, which turns out to be the butler, the chauffeur, and the footman, all in the employ of Lord Marmaduke Ffogg. Along with two other henchmen, the bat fight breaks out, and it's really fun. Batgirl turns up out of nowhere, helps on the fight, and of course, makes her escape. The fight is over, but one of the henchmen puts a device in the Batmobile, but is quickly knocked out. But Batman and Robin don't notice. They clearly manage to use the three of these henchmen with the butler, the footman, and the chauffeur. And it doesn't take them long to know that Lord Marmaduke Ffogg is clearly involved in these robberies. However, they have really no proof, and it's hostile territory. And of course, once again, they're wondering where the hell Batgirl's gone and how the hell she turned up. Realizing there's really nothing left to do, they head back to the Batcave. It also should be noted there's a scene after this where Lord Marmaduke Ffogg and his sister talk about Barbara joining the faculty. After all, Penelope Peasoup got to get along with Barbara and wanted to join the faculty for a while. However, it is revealed her real intention was to possibly use her as a hostage and learn more about Batman's investigation through her, which he thinks is a good idea. The Batmobile then arrives at their Londinium Batcave, where Ffogg suddenly explodes. And that's where we end our cliffhanger. And honestly, it's a pretty good one. We don't know. It's a pretty good one, but at the same time, an easy way for them to get out. Okay, I like the idea of sending Batman, Robin, and essentially Batgirl into an environment that they have very little experience of. First off, they're going to across the pond. They are out of America, so that's a pretty interesting setting. But Gordon and Chief O'Hara have very little role and are kind of minor. And Alfred, I like how he plays a bit of a role in this episode. Though minor, it's still enjoyable. The concept of essentially these guys going to London, or Londinium as it clearly is a concept that's done in many shows where they go to London or an area outside of their usual place as a sort of fish out of water for possible stories, and this is definitely more prevalent in the main villain for this episode. Lord Marmaduke Ffogg, portrayed by Rudy Valle. First off, I like the costume, his main costume that he wears. First off, the pipe, the hat, and the sort of cloak or coat, I'm not really sure what you call it, but it screams Sherlock Holmes. It's like a crooked version of Sherlock Holmes. And Rudy Valle, hopefully I'm pronouncing it right, for me does a fantastic job in a criminal who believes himself superior because of his aristocratic upbringing. He is a lord, he has a title. And I also like how he plans these mastermind robberies, and he views himself superior because he has a unique weapon. Though you can point out the flaw of it, it is a pretty interesting, he is a pretty fun and okay villain. My flaw, I could really say, is why he's doing these robberies. Is he a bored aristocrat wanting to have some enjoyment? Or does he like the criminal lifestyle? That's my really fault here. There's no real explicit explanation as to why he does it. I like the costume, and I don't mind the character. And he clearly represents the whole being a part of the aristocrat that Batman is going up against. Again, not all aristocrats are bad, but he represents those evil ones that use their authority and position for his own advantage. I also happen to like his female accomplice and essentially the second villain of the episode. Lady Penelope Peasoup, portrayed by Glynis Jones. Hopefully that name is being pronounced right, and hopefully I have done justice to her. If this actress should look familiar for a Disney fan, well, she should. She was in Mary Poppins. She didn't play Mary Poppins, but she played the mother of the kids, and she was a delight in that episode. So seeing her here play a villain is absolutely out of the water for me. She is absolutely different in this role. I also can admit she does show some criminal brains, and she's clearly the second in command of the operation. My problem is I feel that she's like Lola Lasagna. Fun to play off with, and the actress certainly brings a chemistry to the thing, but I also feel that she's kind of a little bit pointless and wasted. However, not to the same extent as Lola Lasagna, but she does manage to stand on her own. I really like that. Prudence here is also another interesting character. The daughter to Lord Marmaduke Ffogg. It's clear that she's trying to play both sides for her own gain. What she's after, we don't know, but that makes her interesting, and hopefully we'll see more of it in the 3-parter. Londinium Larcenies is so far a good episode to start off with. The only maybe a bit of, and so far it's a good way to start off any 3-parter. Something always, and I think it's better than the Penguin one to start off, but it's definitely nowhere near to the Joker one. As I think the Joker 3-part is the best, but so far this one's starting off really good. My criticism is maybe that they're really trying to rush through, and clearly the budget when they go on the cruise, the yacht really rolls my eyes because it's that bad of a budget, as it's pretty much black. But other than that, it's a pretty damn good episode. And there we have it. That was the part 1 to this 3-parter. Join us next time we reveal with part 2, and the dynamic trio will hopefully be finding their way to take down Lord Marmaduke Ffogg. So tune in next time to the same Steven hour, the same Steven channel, ladies and gentlemen. So long for now.